Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. You can find all of our social media channels and everything else at linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. Today's episode, well, it's going to be an interesting one, right, Joe?
It is. If I can get my glasses on right. I mean, I'm fighting over here with my glasses. I don't know what's going on. I'm losing my head. I don't know what's happening. It's a bad day. It's a bad hair day.
Bad hair day, yeah.
But yes, we're going to talk about undocumented bigotry, right? With such a high influx of illegal immigration coming across our border, we kind of have taken our nation into a direction of hatred. You know what I mean? A lot of bigotry because of what's the overflow and how both sides are presenting the illegal immigration to the American people. And so because of that, we're seeing a high increase of just a lot of racial slurs going on, being thrown back and forth. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and probably what we could do to solve it or what's the problem that created it, but I'm sure we all know what that is.
Yeah. Well, let's get this thing going then. All right, welcome back. Here we go with some undocumented bigotry.
Yeah.
So, like Joe was saying at the beginning here, everybody obviously knows that there's a lot going on at our southern border. And, in 2015 to 2016, right, you had the whole thing with Trump supposedly said stuff about, all Mexican people that are coming across the border and all that stuff's been already debunked,
Right. Just lies by the left.
It was big time lies. And the problem is that, he's a little just like every other person I don't consider him really a politician other than he's gotten into politics, but
clearly not a public speaker,
not a great public speaker or anything like that. But just like anybody else, he kind of sometimes over embellishes stuff like everybody else does,
right,
and gets,
right.
And then what happens is the media cuts stuff up, and both sides do this. The left does it, I feel, in a more
harmful way,
in a disingenuous way, right?
Yeah.
Which is harmful. And I see the right do it more in like memes, and they clown on people more.
Yeah.
It's I don't
more
see
hurt
them,
feelings.
Yeah, because their feelings are so easily jarred.
Correct. Correct.
But they're so you had the southern border portion of when there was the whole stay in Mexico thing, and this was more for the people that actually were born in Mexico, live in Mexico, and all that. We fast forward to today, that's not the case. The amount of people coming across this southern border don't even live in Mexico, right? They're not from Mexico.
No, because we're all here already.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did that back in the 80s, back when
all the ones that want to be here are here.
Ronald Reagan gave us that amnesty, bro. We took it. We're all like, hey, let's go now. So we're all here now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
these are all Central South American people that are coming across the border. And with that, they're bringing their, and let's be honest, let's call it what it is. They are bringing their crime syndicates. They are bringing all kinds of negativity, stuff that's being forced out of those towns, right? Where clearly they cannot operate anymore because they're coming down on them. So they're forced to come north, right? They're not Mexico, bro. Everybody says like, oh, this and that, bro. We don't want, Mexico does not want illegal immigration just as bad as we don't, right?
Right. Yeah.
They don't at all. And so they just like, hey, bro, get out of here. We can't hold them back. They come through. So we just push them north, right? And then that ends up here.
Right.
And so now you see, like in New York City, an increase of like little biker gangs. I'm not talking motorcycle gangs, bro. We're talking like moped scooters.
Like, yeah.
Like
they have in their in their countries.
Exactly. And you see that
Yes.
happening all the time, right? Where
Yeah.
this guy rolls up in a little scooter, grabs the purse, takes off, right? Because
Right.
they're small, easy maneuverable around cars, and boom, they're
Correct.
gone. So you see an increase in that. You see an increase in the disrespect in law enforcement, which you see down in this in South America, Central America, even in Mexico, where there's a lot of disrespect to law enforcement, right? Because
Yep.
there's a lot of bribery, a lot of dirty stuff going on. So now
Right.
they're doing that here, and they're assaulting police officers in broad daylight. They zero cares, right?
Right.
And I think that's where the problem begins, because now you take places like Chicago, New York City, where you are now taking the citizens out of apartment complexes, low incomes, and things like that, and put in illegal immigration. You are now creating bigotry, right? Because
Yeah.
who are they going to hate? They're not going to hate the government. I mean, clearly they hate the government for doing a lot of things, but if they're a strong progressive left person, they're not going to blame the government, because that's who's in power right now. They're going to blame these people that are coming across the border,
Right.
right? And they're going to blame it on Trump because of his
Yeah.
policies when he was president, blah blah blah. And so,
Which.
in its course, they're going to hate those illegals, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you start having problems. And now you're seeing a lot of people turning against the progressive left because of this issue. And now you see them turning against these immigrants because of what's happening. So it's like a trickle effect. Everything rolls downhill. You know how that saying goes: poop rolls downhill, bro.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And yeah, it's funny you mentioned the whole scooter thing. So yeah, you have these folks that are coming from their cultures, right? And they're bringing whatever that is, and that was a good point of it, is that in their villages and stuff like that, they
Yeah.
use these little mopeds. They're used to it, so they can just jump on one in a second. And who knows if the ones they have aren't stolen ones
Oh,
at
I'm
this by
sure.
this
I'm
point.
sure.
However, the government is giving them a bunch of money. They're probably just buying them and getting them, they're getting free loans and stuff. And this is another one of the problems. And the government causes this nonsense, right? Who
Mm-hmm.
we currently
Correct.
have in office, because what
The
they've done,
borders are. The borders are.
man. So
Sorry, too soon.
if you are somebody that has been struggling, and your parents struggle and your grandparents struggle, and you've been told your whole life, vote for me, and because we're the same color skin or what have you, I'm gonna take care of you, and I'm gonna help you out, and I'm gonna hook you up, right? I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna make sure that you're all good. And 40 years later, nothing's changed, man. Those neighborhoods are still gigantic trash dumps. And the only people that are fixing stuff are people that come from outside the area,
Yeah.
to help out. And so now you get these people that have come across the border. And listen, there's a thing with amnesty and everything, and then there's a thing with this just garbage uh policies that are allowing just floods of people coming in. So now you have excuse me, you've had these 40 years to look at these people that have been promising you all this good, we're going to do all this for you. And now they came, knocked on your door, and spit in your face as much as they could. And they said, nope, these people, we're giving them vouchers for a free place to live. We're giving them free phones. We're giving them EBT cards and gift cards for all kinds of stuff. And some of these cards, I mean, they're finding them, right? $15,000 they're giving people.
Oh man,
How many people right now would $15,000 help them for their groceries or gas or anything?
that would last a good
So,
week in this
so,
economy.
so instead of looking at the people that have been promising you and now have completely bypassed you, spit in your face, and your family, right? And now giving these people, all of that. I mean, at what point do you go, okay, we've been being played like over and over and over
Yeah.
again? And here's something so this is just a little show of force with what happens when people come into a country that have a completely different ideology, belief system, thought process, you know. So in Europe, right, there has been a huge influx of people from Muslim countries over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So out of all the countries in Europe, what's the country with the lowest, one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in murders, grape, you know, all these
England?
things.
Is it England?
No, it's Poland.
Oh, well,
So
they're strict on their border
yeah.
policy.
So what country has had the worst problem?
Currently, I would say England, right?
France.
France?
It's France, yeah.
Mm.
So here's a crazy thing. What country has let in the least amount of illegals, and those being primarily Muslim people?
Poland?
Poland. So least amount of crime, murders and stuff, and they let the least amount of these folks in. France, guess who's the number one in letting people in? I
Who?
gave it away already.
France?
France.
I'll say, man, I've been missing, so I don't know.
So no, it's okay. No, and the thing is that's the thing is people need to know that this is what's happening. Now,
look at the Polacks. Look at the Polacks with their with their strong border.
They were the one of the first countries to get invaded, right back in the 50s.
So they're like, we ain't doing this again.
No more. We're not putting up with this crap. So I know there might be somebody out there that goes, you guys are, bigots, and guys, it's not Joe saying it, it's me saying it, and this is, you can look it up. You might have to dig deep in Google because they try to hide a lot of this stuff.
You can blame me.
Statistics.
Please. I'm a minority. You can blame me for everything. Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with it being the Muslim faith or people in general. There is an ideology difference between these, heavier Christian-based countries and these. So go to any majority Christian country in the world. I'll wait. Take a snapshot of it and make a postcard. Now go to any country that is majority Muslim in the world. Take a snapshot of it. I mean, there's a big difference in ideology, right? And how
let's be fair. It's a very aggressive religion. It's very aggressive and you can see it everywhere. I mean, people, you guys can be mad at me all you want and whatever. This is my belief, and like we say here on Joe and Jay, opinions matter, just not yours. So here's the thing, though. Like right now, one of the biggest problems they're having in Europe, what the Europeans in England, is that now they're telling people, hey, try not to take your dogs out because it's in an insult to Muslims and blah blah. And I'm like, well, then go back to your country.
Yeah,
I mean, I have a dog. I'm gonna take him out. I mean, there's so much things. Like I could say that about Christianity. I'm like, hey man, leave all your Transformers stuff at home and don't bring it out to public and blah blah. No one cares. They're still doing it. So
right.
I have to respect the fact that, look, if I want to live in a free society, if I want to live in a country that protects me from invaders and from all communism and socialism and everything like that, I have to deal with stuff like that, right? I have to just like understand, as long as it doesn't affect me, as long as I don't fall into it or it's not shoved down my throat like most religions love to do, like the left loves to do. I have to deal with it. Those are things that we have to deal with in society. Now to just get a whole country and say, hey guys, guess what? I know we used to walk our dogs and we used to have all kinds of cool stuff, but now we got all these guys that have come over and we have to respect their wish. No, we don't. No, we don't.
Right.
And this is, we don't have to do that. If they're offended by that, stay inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't go out. Go to your mosques and pray there. Don't come out where you see a dog. To me that it's absurd. That is absurd. And it's things like that. Instead of trying to fit in a community, trying to reach out, right, with the community-based leaders, you're going to totally just go against whatever. You're going to go in there like it's almost like a parasite. You go in there and just take it over. You're going to create bigotry. You're going to create hatred, and you're going to create all kinds of stuff that is not good for a society, let alone a country, right? So, and I'm talking here in Europe or wherever, down south, anywhere you do that, you're going to create this kind of hatred. And that's the problem. So I blame what's going on today on this administration. I really do. Because as horrible as it may seem, like, oh, you're going to deport them back and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. There's a process. There is a process. Now, hey, immigration's great. We're all immigrants, right? There's no one that there is absolutely no one here that is from here. Native Americans
Right.
included. Everyone migrated from
Yeah.
somewhere. There's no one
Yep.
from here.
100%.
Um, so to sit there and say, "Well, this is my country or my country," sorry, you know what I mean? It is what it is. This is how it is. But try to live in unison with each other, not against each other, right? And what this um godforsaken administration has done, it has created this hatred, and it's doing what it knows best, and that's to divide a nation, right? They know how to do it. It's
Yeah.
by religion, it's by race, it's by everything you could think of that they know is going to divide a nation, they throw at us, right?
Right.
And they create this kind of hostility, and that's sad, because I'm honestly going to tell you, these illegal immigrants, it's not fair to them. It really isn't. You know what I
No.
mean? That they come here and they experience that. This is a we love everybody in this country, man. That's the whole
Right.
point. And then when you got this kind of bigotry going on, it's because it's forced on us. It's thrown on us, and you have nothing. Could you imagine my elderly grandmother living in this low income housing? They're like, "Hey, you got to go. You got like a month to go because we got to house all these illegal immigrants that are coming
Yeah.
over."
These Somalis or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And they have to come over. I'm like, no, hell no. Even if they're Hispanic, I'm like, shh, you better go back, bro. You better come in the right way, like my dad did. You know what I mean? He
Right.
got papers.
Yeah.
Don't come at me this way. And it's just not fair. I don't think that we should have these open borders. I mean, there's a reason why we have borders. Um, is
Well,
because we back in the days it wasn't an issue, right? Because trade was kind of open. There was really no
yeah.
centralized monetary system. It was just Rome had everything, so there was really no, and Rome was like the only money that was out was the Roman money, right, from
Right.
Caesar. So there was really no need for like walls and borders. But now you have nations. You have European nations, you have the American nations, you have just the African nations. You have so many nations now that you have to have these borders because you have to maintain that society that's in those countries, right? You
Right.
can't just keep flooding it, and what happens to your economic system? It just goes to crap. So you have to have some kind of control.
Right.
And that's why people are citizens. That's why when they're born here, they have every right to do whatever they want here, except the bad stuff. But so it's not fair to have citizens of other countries come in here and just take advantage of the systems that we have for our citizens.
Right. Well, the big percentage of these folks that are coming over here, they're not coming here to work. They're coming here for, handouts and such. Now, not to say that everybody's doing that, but there's a big
I'm
percentage.
ready to I'm ready to go down Mexico and cross the borders and see how much money I could get. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's man, it's disheartening, pretty disgusting what's going on. And it's funny because if you go back in time, people would, so you and I have talked about this before. You see people on the side of like the freeway,
Mm-hmm.
selling oranges and stuff like that. And again, you and I have talked about this. I'd rather see somebody doing that than sitting there just begging, straight up begging for food or usually they're begging for money because they want money for drugs or alcohol, or they're doing it as like a sidekick type of thing. And the amount of these folks in just our, well, the area that I'm in, towards the freeways and stuff, I mean, it has exponentially increased.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that's crazy about it is it's not like, it doesn't, none of the people look like they're from Mexico at all. So it's not those folks, right? These are people with much darker skin, much different facial features and everything that, and I feel bad for anybody that's down on their luck. However, these are people that chose to be here. And if, you and I say, hey, let's move to Canada, and then we just go over the border and then just right away start panhandling and everything, I'm sure they don't want us there, right?
Yeah.
They don't want us as a part of that society going up there. And it's the same thing everywhere, right? And the thing is that the left, here's the thing that really drives me up the wall with them, is they just had the DNC thing, what, a week ago or whatever it was. And
The shit show is what I call it.
That's exactly what it was, man. And they got people outside protesting and everything, and uh, they're upset at how terrible the United States is, and if obviously if Trump gets back in, he's going to ruin the country, because in the 4 years he was in, of course, that's what he did. He ruined the country. He locked everybody up. All the stuff they're saying, he's not going to do, right? So
that was Harris's policy that locked everybody up when she was in California.
I mean, the current and the funny thing is, I don't want to get off base too much, but she's like, as soon as I get in and when I'm the president,
you in office now.
I'm gonna lower gas prices and your food prices, and it's like, dude, you've been there 3.5 years. I'm not going to give you another 4 years to keep screwing it up. And saying again, look at all the worst cities in the country. They're all ran by a same ideal, right? And they're all screwed up, and they've been voted for the last 30, 40, 50 years, depending on the city and county and all that. And it's ran by all these people because they're a prom king or prom queen, and you voted that in. You didn't vote a policy in, right? You need people that are going to have the right. So here's the thing. People are all worried, and I'm getting a little tracky here, but we'll get back on. So Trump, right, is very wealthy, and people are so worried about him taking bribes from all these. Well, it's one of the reasons he's hated, is because he won't take bribes. Here's the thing. How old is Trump?
60s, isn't he?
I think he's older than that.
Is he?
Yeah, well, he's pretty close to. He's only like 5 years off of Biden, I think, something like that. Anyhow,
okay, Biden's 100 years old, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
He's 115.
Yeah.
So Trump is wealthy.
He's 78.
He does 78. Yeah, he's almost 80 years old, man.
He doesn't look a day past 50, bro. He's sexy.
Yeah, that's
my pops right there,
working it. So that's why they hate him, is because they cannot buy him. They can't buy him. I fear somebody like Kamala got up there, and I watched the DNC thing, parts of it, and try to catch some of it.
I had to take memory medication for after that.
Man, so she's saying, I come from like a meager beginnings and this and this and that. Well, both of her mom and dad were like professors and everything. They weren't rich or whatever, but they weren't poor by any standards of the imagination. Here's my problem with it. That lady has went from nothing to quite wealthy in her little journey. And I fear those people more because she's easy to buy.
Of course. Well, the whole progression, right? And here, let me take that back. I say the whole left is easy to buy, but in the world of politics, both sides
absolutely
are easily purchased.
These people that walked in with nothing and are walking out multimillionaires, dude. I don't
term
care
limits
what
is what I'm telling you right now. Term limits. But here, 100%. Going back to our topic, in Novi, Michigan, I was coming out of a grocery store, and I'm in line to get back on the road, and I see in the corner at the stop, there's a family. There's a guy, older dude, darker in skin tone, kids. He's on a lawn chair, bro. He's sitting on a lawn chair holding a sign, right? His wife's running around with the kids and stuff like that. His minivan's parked over here on the side. I know it's his minivan because I've seen him there several times. I've seen him get into it.
Not his first rodeo.
Right, standing next to a I don't want to say either Red Robin's or one of those kind of restaurants. Sign right next to it. On that sign, now hiring. Right on that sign. And he's asking for but dude's chill. He's not even getting up to ask for money. He's like in a lawn chair, just chilling with a sign, like, you come to me, you bring me the money.
He won't walk to the car to grab the dollar bill.
Exactly.
He's like,
just
bring
make
it
a
over
ball
here.
and toss it over
here.
Or he'll send his wife. I don't know. So I get up there, bro. I roll the window down, and the wife starts coming. I'm like, hey, they're hiring right there, bro. You might want to go get a job. They're hiring. It's going to last longer than my $2. So I'll talk to you later. Roll my window up and bailed. But this is the kind of
You're
stuff.
You're such a jerk.
I am. Let me tell you something, man. My parents taught me at a very early age to you get out of life what you put into it, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna work hard, then you're
Yeah.
you're gonna be able to sustain yourself. I'm not rich by far, but you know what? I'm good, and it's because of hard work. And we've known each other since grade school, and
Yeah.
we know our work ethics and we know our value, but we also know the type of parents that we have. You know what I mean? That
Right.
had high expectations of us, and so when I see that, man, that really irritates me, especially when you're you have kids and a wife. Like, bro, get off your ass and do something. Get a job, do a dishwasher. I don't care. And here's the thing that this is the second part as to why there's so much bigotry in America with illegal aliens, because now you're going to take, for example, back in the 80s when I grew up, and we had a lot of issues with the border. This is back then when the Mexicans were coming across, and the border patrol was tough, man. They didn't mess around. They had those old Blazers and they had these
Oh,
dog
yeah.
cages in the back, and they just used to throw them back there. And my dad was an advocate for illegal immigrants. My dad had his own business and he was successful in his own way, but he still was an advocate for stuff like that. And you'd see that when they come over, they weren't begging. They weren't, dude. They'll jump in there, be a dishwasher for $3-4. They
Right.
didn't give it, as long as they had a job and they were being
Yeah.
productive. They didn't care. Here's the difference back then, though. A lot of them, once they established themselves, they were working. They did try to become citizens, and a lot of them did. A lot of them got their
Right.
the alien resident card and just all those. There's so many avenues to get. They had a visa, work permits, and all kinds of things. But they hustled, right?
Yeah.
They try to do it. Now, of course, it's I mean, so there are programs out there right now where and it's mostly, I believe, ranchers and farmers that can hire illegal immigrants, but they pay a fine for doing so. And they do that only because there's not enough American workers to do it. Right. And that's the thing you hear all the time is like, oh, they're taking our jobs and blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna tell you right now, even as a Mexican, my dad sent me out to go work the fields. I picked grapes, bro.
I already know where you're going with this.
Hell nah. You know what I mean? I had to get up early in the morning. I'm out there picking grapes, carrying these boxes as a 15-year-old kid.
Right.
Eating. Man, hell nah, hell nah. I think that's the best thing my parents ever did, though, is show me the value of a dollar. You know what I mean?
Right.
And how hard work it is.
Yeah.
And these people are willing to do that. I'm gonna tell you right now. Back in the day, bro, we're Generation Xers, bro. We drink out of water hose. We burn our lips from the hot water. We ride our bikes at night with the banana seats, and we get all these little
The banana seeds.
You remember those? Don't even play. I
Yeah.
had a flag on my bike, but we came from that
Rainbow.
hey, but I came from a generation. We came from a generation. We didn't mess around, right? We had our
Right.
first taste of beer when we were like kids, little toddlers and stuff.
I
Grandpa
don't
would
know
give
what
us,
you're talking about.
yeah, all of a sudden. Grandmas used to smoke in the house, and that's just how we were raised.
Yeah.
And so, knowing all that, I'm tough. You're tough. I'm gonna tell you right now, though, I ain't picking grapes in the field tough. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'd damn do that again. So I know damn well that today's generation, today's kids, today's youth ain't about to go out there and pick oranges or watermelons or lemons where the trees are full of thorns. My mom was American, bro. She was born in Texas, and she picked lemons. And she used to tell me that her arms would be just all sliced up from cut because of the thorns.
Yeah.
And
For the grapefruit trees getting an arm.
yeah,
chopped
and so
up, yeah.
they would travel up and down California, bro, for the season. Picking
Yeah.
fruit. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so that's a big key thing. Again, when we were kids, what did we call the people that came over and worked in the fields? They were called migrant
workers. Yeah.
And the reason they were called migrant because they were migratory because they
migrated.
They either so in like the Coachella Valley where there's a lot,
and then they go back to Mexico.
And they go back to Mexico, right? And it worked for both sides, right? So you have the Mexican people that could come up here and make more money than what their economy was, so it helped them out. And then in the United States, these farm owners didn't have to employ people 365 days of the year that they're not pulling crops half the year, right? They're only
and it kept our crops prices down too.
That's right. So that stuff for anybody to say you're bigoted and don't want, no, that's not the thing is that the economy runs good when you have the proper immigration.
That's just smart.
And like that, it's really
That's
smart.
just smart.
And most of those folks, dude, I remember people when we were in school that we went to school with, that their parents had been migrant workers, and then they're going to school with us, and then their parents became, citizens. One
Yeah.
of my really good buddies, man, that I, played in bands with and stuff. His parents both came up, and them. They opened a store downtown and everything,
His dad worked for my dad, and
yeah, dude,
that's where he started it.
and I love that family, man.
Yeah.
They were the best people in the world. I would have,
Great, good people.
if somebody would have talked mess about them, I would have knocked their teeth out. So
Yeah.
so there's a big difference from migratory workers, people coming in, immigrating to the country legally and everything, than what is going on right now. What's going on right now is it's a travesty, man. And
It's a crime, bro. It's a
it
crime.
is. Well, there's a word in the whole thing: illegal immigration, right?
Yeah.
So people can immigrate, and I know the first thing that folks say is, well, the system takes too long and everything.
There's a reason for that. There's absolutely a reason for that. I mean, do you want criminals here, or do you want hardworking individuals that are going to contribute to society? You have to vet them. You have to.
And the same friggin' people that want everybody to come over and are screaming and yelling that there's not enough people at the border are the ones that are defunding all of these offices, right? Oh, we don't need those people. We need more for, social services for people that need, sex changes and stuff. Dude, this is the problem. We've got our priorities all screwed up. We've gotten to a point where it is a United States last program, period. That's what's happened with this administration, has gotten to that point. Caring more about people that are coming over than our current citizens. I don't care.
Yeah, but let's think about it. Do they really care about them, or are they just trying to get their votes? Are they just trying to flood and disrupt? Look at it, man. It's voting season. Look at all the chaos that's happening.
Right.
Come on. At one point, you have to say, okay, look, I know this shit sounded good in conspiracy theory minds, but it's kind of like real now. And it's like, honestly, I feel like we're running out of conspiracy theories because they're all coming up true. I don't know what's going on here, but
yeah,
it's just they're the reason I think that we have these open borders right now, and they keep arguing that we don't, is because they clearly have planned a disruption. And this is the disruption. This is what's happening today. Look at how divided we are, and no one's looking at what's happening behind the scenes behind all this. And I think there's stuff happening behind the scenes. At least I feel like there is. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I believe that that they are trying to create just pure chaos. Basically, it's I don't know. They're trying to pass it where they can get licenses and vote and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's totally it, and if it's not just to cause crazy chaos. And since the beginning, what has the left really tried to do? Divide everybody, man.
Yeah.
And it starts in the school systems. If you look at the Marxist playbook in what they want to do, the first thing is take over the schools, right? Indoctrinate the kids into all this crazy stuff that has nothing to do with learning. So you're dumbing your students down. What's that do when you dumb them down? They're more susceptible to false narratives and everything, which is definitely happening. Then you take over, and back when that was written, obviously social media wasn't around, but take over the media, which now includes social media. We've talked about this before. What is TikTok, right? TikTok in China teaches their kids, higher math, deals, and it's educational stuff.
Yeah.
Here, what is it? It's twerking and, all kinds of other crap. Now, here's the thing for me. I am a person that says, keep the government out of my life. I don't think the government needs to, censor TikTok or Twitter or any of the other stuff. As a freaking parent, you need to keep your kids off of that crap. If that's all they're watching all the time. Oh, I can't keep my kids from doing that. Well, I mean, I remember back in the day, my parents didn't let me pop in a porn tape, right? In the VCR. So why didn't they? Why wouldn't they just, we can't stop him from doing that? Yes, you can. You're the parent. And that's the problem. I had a conversation with my mom the other night. We were talking about kids now not wanting to do anything and getting these, gender study degrees and things like that. And it's like, none of that's good for anything. And one of the things we've failed as a society is as bringing kids up is this: honey, do whatever you dream of, do whatever you want. Well, yeah, they're gonna get their dreams from the professor at school that could never get a true job, and they're teaching it again, gender studies nonsense or whatever. The thing is that why is it that countries like Japan, the kids do so good? Well, because the parents watch what they're, what grades they get and everything, and then they push them in the right direction. So they're getting, good grades in science stuff. They're going to push them in a science direction. If it's in arts, they're going to push them in an art direction. So, we have been, we've been duped, and the belief system that bringing people in is going to help our economy, it's not. In fact, I mean, if people can't see by now what this administration has done with first day open border policies, how it screwed up the country, how they've went to this clean energy system, which is, they've done nothing with the clean energy system. And again, they've been in there almost 4 years, right? And all it's done is raise our gas prices. People can't afford the electric cars.
What's
anyways.
that? What was that gay dude's name? Bugali, the Secretary of Transportation, the guy that put on that fake boob to breastfeed his child or whatever.
Booty Judge?
Booty juice? Is that what you said?
Booty juice.
He I don't know.
You know what?
I don't know how many millions he used on taxes to open up 7 EV stations. 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
7 is all he's done in the almost 4 years that he's been there.
Booty
Juice is doing a horrible job. This whole EV is a joke.
Look up the high-speed rail system in California and see.
Oh, bro, it's a money pit. That's just a money pit,
man. Money pit. And all those contractors that were buddies of all those guys got paid and everything. So
okay, let me tell you something, and I guarantee if you look into that, I'm gonna say right here, you can hear it. You can hear it first here from Joe and Jay. If you look into any of those contractors, I bet you some of these politicians that were involved are on a board member somewhere, a silent partner on a board or something. They're getting kickbacks.
One of the guys was a good buddy with Jerry Brown. You remember who that was?
Oh yeah. Yeah, good old Jerry Brown.
Surprise, surprise,
surprise, surprise. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, man. I heard it first here on J. But yeah, it's, come on, man. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, right? And before you know it, you're in a Transformers relationship. So the problem,
you know what, the whole Buttigieg thing, the day I didn't have a lot of respect for him from the beginning because I knew why they hired him. He's a puppet. He's a DEI hire anyways, but
you can't say that.
I know we're going to get it. Hey, everybody, just to let you know, if you're watching this far in, we did get a strike on our channel the other day. So it was from a video we posted a year ago. So yes. So if you tell me that it's not election season and they're looking for anywhere they can to get people.
Which one was it?
I'll show you later. Okay. I'll show you which one it was. And the thing that's funny, it was my part of the outro when I was saying something, and the AI must have understood it wrong, and yeah. So
did you fight it?
It was stupid. Oh yeah.
All right, good.
It's still pending, so we'll see what goes on with that.
Because I was gonna say, if anyone gets in trouble, it would be me.
It's so dumb. Anyways, so Buttigieg pulls up. Booty juice. He pulls up to some play, and so somebody has a camera like behind bushes and stuff like that, and they pull him out of a black SUV, right? And they pull this bike out.
Oh yeah, I remember.
They put it, and he gets on it, and he's like Debo going across, and he doesn't go, he doesn't go 100 yards, on this bike, and it's the same thing is when they're on camera and they had the masks on, the N95 masks or whatever. And then they'd get off stage and they'd pull the masks off really quick. It's all,
or you see them put it on as they're walking out of the stage.
Yeah.
And
it's all smoke and mirrors.
Oh, come on. You had
BS.
You had the mummy Pelosi, but when they had shut everything down, she was in that hair salon with no mask on, walking around while everybody else was stuck at home. The mummy Pelosi was was getting
Right.
her hair done, no mask, just walking around in this beauty salon that's closed for the public, but she clearly
Right.
had access. I
Rules
mean,
for thee, not for me. Yeah.
bro, I
And
don't. You know what?
and
Not even an iron could de-wrinkle all those wrinkles on that woman. I'm just telling you that
and
right
then
now.
you had Gavin Newsom. He went to dinner with all of his buddies. Nobody had a mask on. And so if you
Oh,
say,
how about the
well,
how,
it's
how about the doctor Fauci? He was at the baseball game with no mask
yeah,
on. Come on, these guys are all hypocrites, bro.
oh yeah,
But you know
and
what?
these are the
The
people.
left is like, oh my god, right? You
No, yeah,
lefties, bro. God, man, I wish you guys would call in. I wasn't a lefty to call in, bro. I'd tear them up, tear the booty up.
yeah. I was coming out of a restaurant, and during that time, and I got like takeout, and I was walking out, and this guy like starts kind of arguing with me. He's like, "You should have had your mask on. You should have had your mask on." And I'm like, "I walked in the building 3 feet. There's people at the bar. Nobody has a mask on. Like, yeah, but you're walking in. You need to have your mask on." I was like,
You should have
"Get
said you need to mind your
get
business.
get out of my face." Is what I told him. I'm like, "Gosh, man."
You
So
should have asked him. I go,
the
hey, bro, do you drive around in a mask by yourself in the car? I
yeah.
bet you do. I bet you do.
Here was the simple thing that was said from a doctor, and I thought it was the best thing. And it's like this shuts everybody up. If you can smell a fart through your mask, it's not saving you from COVID. Period. Okay. So there you go.
I tested that
The
there.
I hotbox myself.
I hotboxed myself, and I'm like, that doesn't work.
Yeah. So man, I really blame our current administration, their stupid policies, their ridiculous way they believe in how it's going to help the economy and all this kind of stuff. I mean, look around, everybody. Look around. How much has the last 3.5 years of an open border, people flooding in, how much has it helped the economy? It hasn't. It hasn't at all. And it really doesn't help. We talked about a little bit earlier, migrant workers and people that are legit coming across the border. They come here, whether they get a work visa or not, they're in here, they work, and then they go back and, are with their families and I'm talking about Mexican people that legitimately want to come here and work and then go back, or they're trying to, like Joe said, they're trying to save up money, and eventually they're going to, get their citizenship, and they're going to be here because maybe part of their family's already here, kind of thing. Those are the people we want in the country, the people that are working. Like, I'd rather see a dude sitting in a Home Depot parking lot waiting for a job, right? Like trying to work, trying to take care of his family, than be an embarrassment to my family and sit there at home and not do anything and get free money and everything. As a man, I'm sorry, that's not a man. I mean, you are a complete embarrassment. You might as well become a transgender, because you're not a man if you're going to sit around and suck off the government's teat to provide for your family. And you came from another country that's so hostile and terrible to you, and these people are saying, all the lefties, this is such a terrible place to be. Well, I don't see a lot of people leaving the United States for Somalia. I just don't see it.
Well, they say look, bro, there's going to be a big exodus when Trump becomes president again. I'm waiting for that to happen. It didn't happen last time.
It ain't
when he said they were going to leave. They stayed here. So let's see if they'll do it this year, man.
They scared. They ain't gonna go nowhere. They
like,
got the cush life here. All of these pro-Palestinian people are not going to go to. They're not going to go to the Gaza Strip and hang out, especially the ones that are gays for Palestine. That is
bro. That's the funniest thing. It's an oxymoron statement ever.
It's just moronic.
If I go over there, they love me and they protect me. Do it. I dare you. I'll buy your airline ticket.
Oh man,
let me know how it goes.
We're gonna play R. Kelly's "I Believe I Can Fly."
You're being thrown off the rooftop.
That's what they're gonna do to you.
But no, and again, I agree with you 100%. This administration has done a lousy job at the border. And here's the thing, man.
Garbage.
This goes both ways. By having such an open border, hey, both ways. Hey, by having such an open border like that, you create problems in this country. But not just that. You have to think of the many. I sound like Trump. The many,
the billions and
the
billions and billions.
But you have to think about all these poor individuals who have died crossing the Sonoran Desert, who have died being in the waters, who
Oh
have died in the,
man.
it's monsoon season in a lot of these border states. There's just so much stuff that happens. The coyotes that take advantage of them, that
Yeah.
essay them, that, there's just so much, all that because they can't. Now, if we had a strong policy at the border where they knew they can't get through, they wouldn't come. They wouldn't. They
Right.
would stop. Like, nah, it's gonna be hard, and so we're gonna get in trouble, and then we won't be able to become citizens because we've already been arrested. Blah blah blah. They won't put themselves in that predicament, and in turn might save someone's lives. But because
Yeah.
we have such an open border, everybody's just rushing here. People are dying. People are. It's just a horrible, horrible
It
thing
is.
to see. You've seen those in Texas, that semi full of individuals that got locked in that semi, could
Yep.
never open it. They died and suffocated in there. Like, there's numerous accounts of that, or
Yeah.
being chased down by border patrol. The cars flip and several people die. I mean, there's several accounts of this happening, and for some reason, they don't want to close these borders. They don't want to like secure it, and we're acting like, oh, it would be a travesty if we close the borders. It's a travesty when we have them open. You talk about,
Mm-hmm.
oh, all these cages of children and stuff. You're allowing that to happen by having them
Right.
come over. We control that border. The problem is that we chose not to, and that's
Yeah.
that's the worst case. You had the administration made Arizona remove all those containers. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
take them off. It's against
Yeah.
the law.
Ducey. I wasn't a huge fan of Doug Ducey,
Yeah.
but when he before he left office, that's a halfway decent thing he tried to do, putting those containers up there.
Just so the federal government could step in. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
man. And then people want, and then they cry why Trump got rid of Roe versus Wade and moved it to the states, because you don't want the federal government involved in your state.
You want
And that's
you
the
want the
thing.
federal government out of as much as possible.
Hell
Really,
yeah,
all they
Reagan
need
said
to
it best, brother. Reagan said it best.
really, yeah, the only things they really need to provide is basically the federal road system, and that could be taken back to the states. But
It's a lot of money. So
well, the reason they do the federal road system is because that is, if they ever had to and we ever went to war, it's a way we can get equipment from the east to the west coast or vice versa quickest.
yeah,
And
because
then
imagine we start tariffing everybody if we go state to state. Just start
yeah,
putting tariffs on or toll booths. Everybody, you know what I mean?
well, it's funny, man, because if you drive from Arizona into California, right before you get into California, or right when you're getting in, right, what do you have to stop at?
That produce
The
inspection,
fruit station.
inspection, yeah.
What happens when you're coming to Arizona? Free ride, baby. Just
Free ride, baby.
just,
Nothing.
Just come on.
In fact, the first gas station run to, they sell ammo, so you
Yeah.
don't even have to go all the way in Arizona.
Yeah, right across the border, there's a little store right down the road they got big signs up that say ammo.
Cheap gas and ammo. You know what I mean?
And it's not locked behind, and you don't have to use your ID to get ammo over
Yeah.
here. So
No.
yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, it's the policies that they enacted on day one, and you may say, well, Kamala's the vice president. She has a lot of power, all right? And here's one of the big things is all the voting in Congress, she was the tiebreaker. And guess she always voted for the wrong direction that just made things worse every single dang time. And so she's a part of this mess.
Oh, of
big
course
time,
she is, but everybody forget. Well, that's what happens though. Like this whole DNC. Everybody, if you can't go on any social media platform without seeing this negative stuff about Trump and the RNC, right?
Right.
But
well,
now we go to find out that the DNC was paying the very popular influencers $20,000 plus they get hotel, flight, and all this stuff, and of course they all deny it.
Video, right?
Yes,
right.
yes. Yeah. We should have been there. $20,000, bro.
20 grand. I would have covered the DNC.
Yeah, I would have covered it, bro. I would have said nice things. Right.
What was it? There was a couple people from the right that were over there.
Charlie Kirk was over there.
Charlie Kirk was there, yeah.
That guy that did that movie, What Is a Woman?
Yeah, I know.
He was in disguise.
Why can't I? And you can totally tell it was him, but he had kind of tried to do the long hair,
he had the shirts and everything. Yeah. I forget his name.
Yeah, gosh, I can't remember his name right offhand either. But yeah, it's so everybody, it's ridiculous. We've got to vote for policy this November and not vote for the prom queen or prom
feelings.
king.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
disregard your emotions about the individual. You know what? I've done that. Back in the Clinton administration, I was looking at, looking at what's the best policy, what's going to be more impactful. I do that with all the candidates. I'm not always just a
yeah.
conservative. I am a conservative in how I live my life, but it doesn't mean that I always vote conservative. If we have a conservative or a Republican president, I don't feel has good policies or that doesn't make sense to me or whatever the case, I'm not going to vote for them, right?
Well, here's one of the things that I'd say, and most people, especially if you're conservative, but people on the left, to show you that we can kind of bend and flex a little bit better than you guys can. You guys, the lefties really are solid on one way and won't bend another. RFK. So RFK dropped out. You hear about that, and he's putting his name behind Trump. Now they both, and I really love that they did this. They both said, "Hey, we don't agree on everything." And that's good.
Yeah.
Good. Be honest. And they both are saying the same thing. Listen, this, and for all of you that are hardcore lefties, they screwed Bernie Sanders. I don't like Bernie Sanders, but I don't think it's right what they did to him with Hillary, right? And they like pushed him out. They did the same thing to Kennedy, right? And they basically pushed him out, made him where he couldn't. So he, guess what? He wants a good, fair election and the country to be headed in the right direction. And he knows that the party that's currently in there, and I don't even want to say the party anymore, those people with that leftist agenda are not right for they're
Progressive,
not
yeah.
right for the country.
No.
And so he knows that, and he's going to get behind a candidate that he probably agrees less than half with, but he agrees with him more on the direction of the country and being for the people than these oligarchs that are going to, they're going to try to, I mean, really take away all your rights, because it's crazy.
So
So
here's it.
for me, I would rather, and I don't agree with Kennedy on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I would rather have him in office right now than the people that are in office.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
trust. So I trust.
You know
him.
why? But tell me why. Do you know why? You know why I would? Is because look at the lineage he comes
Lineage, yeah, yeah,
from, right? The
yeah,
Kennedy, right?
yeah.
Hardcore Democrats, very different type.
Right.
Those were like the OG Democrats. Were what conservatives are
Yeah.
today is what those Democrats were before. And he had a strong belief system. He always
Yeah.
has. But then when the Democrats turned their backs on him, when the liberals turned their backs on him because they had an agenda with the puppet master, with the puppeteer over here, and this new girl now, they turned his back to him, knowing that he would be a good or a great candidate as president, but they chose not to. Right. And he had to go independent. He had to go just a different avenue. And like you said, he does not agree in a lot of things that Trump says or does or chooses to do, but the core values, that the things that are important to him, Trump believes in.
Yeah.
So of course he's going to support him. Someone also said, like, oh, look at what Trump did and blah blah blah, and he made a mess, and the last 16 years of presidents, the Democrats have held 12 years of that.
12 years of the 16. Yeah.
So you're going to tell me that 4 years Trump did what none of those Democrats could do?
Yeah, and those were the best 4 years economically for this country and for individuals. Now, if your feelings were hurt, that's a whole different thing. And I honestly,
suck it up, Buttercup. Suck it up, Buttercup.
And here's one more person, and you can ask you probably know this anyways, but you can ask my mom, and my mom will tell you straight up, because when she was in office, she was 100% Democrat. And I would say, if that lady, even though I don't agree with everything that all of her policies and stuff, if that lady would jump the fence and come to the conservative side, or at least independent, and she did, that was Miss Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh,
and I told her way back in the day when she was still a Democrat, I said, she's really good and I like her. And you know how many Republicans liked her as a Democrat? Because we are not partisan. We like policies and things that make sense and are smart. And she was that person. Didn't agree 100% with her back then, but she was smart and had things down. And she slaughtered Kamala on stage.
RNC.
And they had to.
Oh, and had the debate.
Yeah, when they had the debates, it basically ruined her whole thing
from the flow.
And she wasn't popular anyways. The fact that she's popular now either shows that they've bought a lot or people are that stupid on that
I'm gonna
side
go
of
with
the
the
fence.
latter. I'm gonna go with the latter on that one. But you know what? The thing is that this is what happens when you hate someone so much. It doesn't matter. You're gonna go the opposite direction, and the problem is that, and I'm gonna be honest, this administration, mainstream media have done a great, and big corporations done a great job in turning America against Trump,
Oh
and
yeah.
because of that, they've acquired some good real estate in an advantage to presidency because of that smear campaign. But
Yeah.
here's the thing: you could smear someone all day long, but when you're living in such a horrible economy, when things are just so bleak, and you know that this guy for 4 years did so much, had great policies, no wars, right? Nothing. You can't hide that. You just can't. And that's why so many minorities, Hispanic and blacks, uh, are turning over and saying, you know
Yeah.
what, I'm going to vote for what benefits me. And that's
Right.
how people should vote. How it benefits me. You know, it's funny.
That's
There was
what the
this.
president's there for.
There was this old lady that was going. That they interviewed. She was like, "Are you a Trump supporter?" She goes, "Oh God, definitely not. But I did live in the best 4 years when he was president, so I'm going to vote for him. I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to vote for him because those were good years for me. And as a senior citizen, I need that, bro. That's a smart individual. That's a
That's a
smart
smart
individual
individual. It has
who
nothing to do with the party. Yeah.
absolutely nothing. So you know, so you guys get smart, man. Don't get ushered one direction or another because of what you hear. Do your own research.
Yep.
Find out. See what the policies are. Look, compare. How many awards were we in? How much money did we have? How was our economy? How many houses did people buy? There's so much stuff to look back into and say, well, all right, everybody wants to go and say, it's funny because everybody wants to say when Trump was president that Obama created that. But now that this administration is president, now they're blaming Trump. So it's
Right.
weird. Come on, guys, let's figure this out. So you know, you got to do one or the other. So that's all.
Obama created the good in Trump's presidency or in Trump's term, but Trump created the chaos in Biden's term. So yeah.
Is that funny?
It is, but it's the blame game. Point your fingers another
And
way
also, Silver Alert is still out for missing Joe Biden. I've not seen him yet, so please report him if you see him. I'm worried that he fell down some stairs or maybe a bicycle accident. So I'll be on the lookout for President Joe Biden, please. Thank you.
He's choking on a bucket of ice cream. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us once again. You've been with Joe and Jay Outspoken. That's Joe, and I'm Jay. And you can check out all of our social media channels at Linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. We get a ton of views and everything, and people don't. What was I looking at the other day? Our statistics. Anyways, the amount of people we have less than 10% of the people that watch this show actually subscribe.
Subscribe, guys. Even if you don't just look at them, just subscribe. Hit the button. Do us a favor.
And if you don't do it for us, just know the whole YouTube thing. It is completely free. Like when you go to a restaurant or you go to Starbucks and you tip the person, right? That's physical money you have to give them. To tip your YouTube folks, all you have to do is give them a thumbs up and subscribe.
Yeah.
It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So yeah.
And then with every subscription, you guys will get a free Joe on Jay calendar. Yeah.
I don't know what the heck that was.
All of a sudden.
I'm gonna edit that one out.
All of a sudden. You better leave that one on there. You better leave that one on
now
there.
They're not going to subscribe. I don't think they want to see that. So, all right, y'all. Well, you guys remember, take care of one another.
Do better. Be better.
And as always,
God bless America.
America.
We'll see you.